Hello and welcome to the Tennis Menus Daily US Open show. What a day we have had. It has been amazing. As Mark laughs at me in the distance, Val here with you. This is, for all the listeners out there, the third time that I've had to do this intro, but we've finally got there. It has been an amazing day of tennis. Val my name. Mark Safulis, the best high-performance coach and the most distracting high-performance coach in the business. How are you, mate?
I'm going extremely well, and your two bloopers, which I'm sure we're going to get online at some point. Val's bloopers plus his mankini, but that was outstanding, mate. You finally got through the intro of this show. We're at a point
without your help,
and we're at a point where we can get started. But what a day of tennis! Absolutely incredible day of tennis. And speaking with my coach's hat on, I've never seen semi-finals of women's tennis, both of them played to the level that they were played today. It was absolutely outstanding, and hats off to Osaka and Azarenka getting through those two matches, because Jennifer Brady and Serena Williams both played absolutely phenomenal tennis, and it took someone incredible to beat them both. And both players, in terms of Osaka and Azarenka, pulled that one out of the hat. It was just phenomenal tennis, and it is going to be one of the greatest women's finals at the US Open of all time.
Yep, I am very excited, and we are here for the tennismenu.com. Remember, you can find anything you need to know about the world of tennis at the tennismenu.com. Mark has done an unbelievable job of coordinating all those drills and everything on there. Packages from Shane, who we had on yesterday, and Limber with Lauren as well, plus news, articles, blogs, anything you need to know about tennis. It is on there. But yes, you're right, Mark. It was truly remarkable today, and I think we must start with Azarenka and Serena, because that was one of the most fluctuating matches in terms of momentum that I've ever seen in my life. Because Serena in that first set, I don't even think Novak would beat her.
Yeah.
That's how well she was striking the ball. Maybe with just the differences in mechanics between the two. But it was genuinely phenomenal. Her striking was just sublime. Azarenka literally could not do anything. And it was at a point where Azarenka had to think, okay, what can I do here? She can't sustain this for as long as she used to. Her movement's a little bit down. She's getting older. What can I do? And I even thought, like, possibly, would you even try and throw in an underarm serve to try and throw her off balance? Because did you see where Serena was returning from in that first set? She was standing a good meter inside the baseline and clubbing Azarenka's serves when they came over the net. She hit 3 double faults in her first 2 service games and looked as shaky as anything. But the thing that I took most from that first set, Azarenka started to get back in it. Yes, it was 6-1, but she was laughing. She was sitting there laughing her head off when Serena was getting net cords going her way. Things weren't going her way, but she was still there going, you know what? There's not much I can do. I might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, both players came out with a plan, and that was to take time away from each other. The way Serena stepped into the court and played that aggressive in the first set just took away Azarenka's ability to dictate any points, and that was incredible to watch. But then the flip, like you're saying, Val, the match just went to a different level. Azarenka took away Serena's time and space, stepped into the court, played more aggressive, went more for her shots, and it just turned 360. It was just totally opposite match in the second and third set. And to watch those two players really playing at that level was just something that I'll never forget in terms of the history of the game. That match is one of the greatest of all time ball striking I've seen. And, Serena did go down early in that third set with a slight little injury. But as we did discuss, you and I, Val, as we were watching this match together, I think there was a little bit of let's change the momentum of the match in that, because it didn't look like it hampered her for the rest of the match.
100% it was that. That was one of the worst medical timeouts I've ever seen in my life. And Moratoglu's standing up and trying to pretend that it's all serious. There was no roll of an ankle there at all. Come on, at least make it look believable if you're going to do it. Like Novak, Novak does this all the time, fakes his injuries. And he went down the other day. That didn't even look believable. But seriously, come on, guys. Like, at least give your ankle a mini roll or something like that. Like, God, let's move on because I'm getting too angry, Mark.
Well, it's interesting because as a coach, I generally look at the opponent and what they wear on the court, and a lot of the players these days, and it's both genders, wear a bit of strapping on prior to a match. I call it the P tape, which is a protection tape. So they wear it, and just in case things don't go their way, or the leg's starting to play up or something's wrong. And Serena had that much tape on her ankles, she probably would have been able to wrap a mummy back in the old Egyptian days. And there was a lot there. Whether or not that was protection tape, whether or not that was to keep her ankles in place, I don't know. But it was an interesting timeout that she did take and try to change her momentum. It didn't work. And Azarenka, cool as a cucumber, went through her mindfulness stuff that we have mentioned on this show at the change of ends. A bug sat in the middle of her head. She had no idea it was there and was able to maintain focus. And that is the sign of a true champion.
Yep, I do love that. And also the sign of a true champion is coming back from deficits. And Serena and Azarenka had met 22 times previously on the WTA. Serena leading 18-4 head-to-head. And Serena and Azarenka played 22 times. It's the only player Serena has played more is Venus in her career, wow, which is remarkable. First meeting was at the 08 Australian Open. Azarenka 0-10 against Serena in slams. 08 Australian Open, loss. 09 Australian Open, loss. 09 Wimbledon, loss. 2010 Australian Open, loss. 2011 US Open, loss. 2012 Wimbledon, loss. 2012 and 13 US Open finals, loss. 2015 French Open, loss. 2015 Wimbledon, loss. 2020 US Open, finally. 11th time is the charm. She gets the win. As a coach, how do you try and get your player to overcome someone that has beaten you down for 12 years? That is so difficult.
It is really difficult, but at the end of the day, it's something that you talk about, that the past is the past. You know, you were a different player 3 or 4 years ago than you are now. You don't look at the past in any other way but what you need to do to beat her, and maybe some of the things that worked in those times and maybe some of the things that didn't. And that's the only thing I'd be looking at as a coach. You know, if you're looking into the head-to-heads, and even from a betting perspective, I can't understand how betting agencies look at, they haven't beaten them for 20 years. So be it. That's past. What happens now is now, and what the team is doing is very different, or what the player is doing is very different to what they did 12 months ago, 3 years ago. The players have matured, grown, whatever. They might have been in, bad mindset in those matches. Something might have happened. It's about sticking to the present and what you can and can't do. And I really am a big admirer of Victoria Azarenka, what she's been through. And it's not just coming back from a baby, but she had a whole custody battle that went through for 12 months with her former partner about her child. And so much has gone in her life that has been so challenging for her to come out, to enjoy what she's doing, to have fun on the court, to come back from a set down against someone who has won 23 Grand Slams and won, so many big matches in the past, to be beaten badly in the first set, just shows how resilient she is as a person. And that, to me, is a true test of character if you can come through a moment like she did today.
I was so impressed with everything that she put up today. She was truly unbelievable. It was one of and it's such a feel-good story. Like, I love Victoria Azarenka. I love the way she plays. The grunting, probably not, and the squealing, but, we can put that past because her personality is one of that is genuine. And we were talking, me and you, this morning, Mark, out. Remember when she used to come out on court, hood over her head, earphones in, protecting her, sort of like a guard maybe from the fans and from everybody else, that it's just her. Today she walks out, jacket, no headphones. She goes straight on court, dancing, jumping around, loving life. It's awesome to see.
It's amazing to see the transformation of the human being, and that's what I always like to talk to the kids about when I'm coaching them is, we go through a journey of life. It's not a destination. You don't end up somewhere. Everybody ends up in the same spot. Literally, we're 6 feet under. That's where everybody ends up. But it's the journey and the evolving that we have as people that is the most important. And to see the evolution of, and even Serena, amazing effort for her to come back from having the child and get back to where she is. It's the evolution of the human being that I find really interesting. And Azarenka, as a person, has changed so much. She was so highly strung, as you said, so protected, had the wall up all the time, to now this person who is just so open and energetic and happy and fun and, loving everything she's doing. And there was a few cracks in the armor today when she was playing in the first set, where she was like worrying about her ball toss. She served really poorly in the first set. But it just showed the true test of her character, to be able to come through that, to be able to figure out what was going wrong, to be able to problem solve and make better decisions moving forward for the next two sets. That shows me where she's come as a person as well as a player.
Well, another stat from today, the first two sets, the complete polar opposites that they were. Important to know. So this is from Steve at Aces Previews. He tweeted set 1 Azarenka 52%, set 2 79% of first serves. That is, and there it is.
It's a big change.
Get first opportunity to crunch the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the game is these days. It's about the first strike in the rally. So if you can make a really solid first serve and get the first strike in the rally, you gain control. Yep. If you don't, you're on the back foot. And this game is a power game. It's built on, getting that first ball into a zone where your opponent can't do anything with it. And for me, today was all about that. Serena had that in the first set. She dominated the first strike. She dominated the court position. Second set, it flipped, and it was all due to a little bit more first serve percentage, and also Azarenka holding her court position and getting that first striking.
Yep, and it was just so awesome to see. And she said after the match, I knew I was going to have a lot of fun out there today, and I did. Mm-hmm. And it just shows how relaxed she is and how important mindfulness is. This has been another theme of the last 2 weeks, how important mindfulness is. And yeah, she exhibited all of it today. It was absolutely phenomenal. So Victoria Azarenka through to her first Grand Slam final since the US Open in 2013. And it's been a long time coming. I did a tweet yesterday about how many players had made semifinals since her last Grand Slam semifinal. It filled up 2.5 tweets. That's how many there'd been. So amazing comeback from her. But the first semifinal was pretty good as well. Naomi Osaka against Jennifer Brady. The first set, neither unwilted on serve, neither getting broken. And the second set in the 8th game, it was Jennifer Brady who broke Osaka and went on to serve out the set. It was a difficult game, but she got there. And Osaka, just too good in the third, just went up another gear. So, a testament to her. But what did you make of that match, and where was that one?
Well, if you look at the match and you see 70 winners hit between the two players, I mean, that is just incredible. The ball striking, the power generated. Jennifer Brady has got the male forehand, and I love it. She's got a little bit more of a rounded grip. She winds it up a little bit more shape to the ball than what the normal females would have. It is one of the biggest weapons I've seen on the women's tour for a long time. Now, in saying that, Osaka was incredible. Like her ball striking is insane, a bit flatter through the court. It just takes less time to get to the other end. But both players were just phenomenal in the way they struck that ball.
Well, they were, and look at the winners, 35 winners each. Brady hit 25 unforced errors, and Osaka hit 17. What's that? That's an 8 differential. The total points won was 11 or 99 to Osaka, 88 to Brady, and 11 differentials. So it's really the unforced errors, and Osaka was just that little bit cleaner. But you are right about Brady's forehand, and there's been comparisons made to Sam Stosur and how she played the game and the weight of shot that she produced.
Yeah.
Does that bode well for Brady heading into the French Open now?
Oh, I think she's going to be better with time. Absolutely, no doubt. I mean, the more time she has on that swing path, the better it's going to be. But in saying that, I mean, she did incredible on a fast surface too. So she's one of those players that can adapt, I think, to anything. The serve was phenomenal as well. She hit 10 aces. When you're hitting 10 aces and 35 winners. I mean, there's 45 winners off your racket. And that doesn't include the forcing errors that she's probably hit as well. So, if you look at that as a player, I mean, we've got the nucleus of an unbelievable athlete coming through. And, but let's not take it away. Naomi Osaka was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, whatever Brady threw at her, she had something to throw back. And that to me is a sign of a true champion. I'm glad she's got to the final because at least I've got something right this 2 weeks. And, she's gotten through and, obviously in a really good position. But that final with Azarenka is going to be absolutely phenomenal.
It sure is. I'm very glad Naomi Osaka got through because part of our bet yesterday was if Brady got through and I have to wear the green mankini on the final show. So one domino is down. And I'm still safe. So this is getting good. But yeah, you are right. And look, when you hit 35 winners and 10 aces and you lose, it's not that's a rarity. It's something that's not going to happen often. So is this something that Jennifer Brady's going to look at and say, okay, I may have lost today, but geez, I played really well. And if I do this time and time again, I'm going to win most of the matches that I play. And it's going to take a really big effort to beat me.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes, but I'm going to say no as well. I think, I would, if I was in Brady's camp, it was a bit of an opportunity gone begging. I think she was playing well enough to not only beat Osaka, but almost well enough to win the tournament. And, it's one of those tough ones. You walk away and you hope she goes, damn, I got to get better. If I'm losing playing like that, I need to get another level. What's the next level I need in my game? Is it I need to be a little bit fitter or faster? Do I need to, be able to go more on my second serve? Or, what are the things I need to improve on to beat someone like Naomi Osaka, who's obviously one of the best players in the world. So you look at going, okay, well, I'm there, but I'm not quite there. So yes, you'd be happy with the way you played, but you'd also be going, well, hang on a second. If I want to win a Grand Slam, I'm going to have to go through these girls. What do I need to add to my artillery to be able to be a better player?
I don't think she needs to add much more. I think there was a couple of points in the third set where her lack of experience showed. When she tried, she was down a break and on her own set, and she tried a little drop shot at love 15 down or 15 love down in a game, and it was just like not the right shot to play. But I think at that point it was sort of the lack of experience that sort of showed. But she'll be better off for this, 100%.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, confidence wise, yeah.
If she gets to this point in the French Open next month, I think she's going to be very hard to beat, and I feel sorry for the player that she comes up against. But when you play against the Simona Halep on clay, it's going to be a little bit different because the courts are a bit slower and Halep she moves like a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very difficult.
Well, looking at the stats now, and Jennifer Brady came forward 12 times to the net and won 10 points. She had an 83% winning ratio at the net. Now, being a college player, obviously there's a lot of doubles and so forth in that environment. Whether or not she now says, well, hang on, I've had a lot of success coming forward against these players. Maybe if I had come forward 17 or 18 times, that might have changed it a little bit because I was having reasonable success, which made Osaka then play to a smaller part of the court, which gave her less space. Maybe it might have been a big difference. Obviously the first serve percentage was 54%. With the weapon she's got, if she's serving at, say, 60%, then all of a sudden, she's going to be winning more points. She won 77% on her first serve. You win 77% at a 60% ratio of the first serve going in. All of a sudden, that's the difference between winning and losing. She lost 11 more points than Osaka. Now, when you think of 11 more points, it's literally only 5.5 points because every time you get a point, she loses a point. You get a point, she loses a point. So it's only the difference between that match was literally 5.5 points.
Yeah.
So she's not far away, and a slight tweak of a few little areas is going to make her a lot better off into the next couple of Grand Slams, plus a bit of confidence, which you did mention.
Yep, agree 100%. And when you talk about the net game, now I feel as though volleying is a lost art, and you don't see it as much anymore, and that's with the technology that's being produced in the rackets and the power that the rackets are generating these days. But wouldn't that be something that you can work on, especially in the WTA? Volleys are more utilized in the men's game. A lot more people come in, but the WTA, like if you see someone come in, Brady does it really well. She's really sound at the net. But, if you can see it happen more, and it worked for Brady today, she did so well. If she can start working on those approaches, there may be opportunities there, and she can have something that many other players don't have.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation because obviously the women's game is very flat. Now, when you play an approach shot in the women's game, generally the ball gets the other end too quick and it's very hard to get in a short space of time to be able to get that volley. And now girls come in to put the point away. Males come in to generally obviously play the first volley. They might have one volley plus two volleys. The female side, they'll love to play the approach and then get the ball sitting up and drive volley it away. There's a little difference in the way that both genders play the net. So I feel it's more the approach shot and the serve that is probably the influence why females don't come in as much. Males are coming in a little bit more. I think the game's flipping a little bit. You can actually, the percentage of winning when you're at the net compared to the baseline is a lot more. So players are starting to realize that and put some more time pressure and space pressure on their opponents by coming in and taking away that time and space. But at the end of the day, it's a confidence thing too, right? So, with the technology and the way the game's played, it's very hard to get past players, especially off the serve. The return of serve these days is incredible. So players are hesitant to come forward because of that. And if they lose 1 or 2 points, they generally stop coming in. So it is confidence as well.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I'd love to see it more, but yeah, you do make a pretty clear-cut argument that I can't really argue with. Very hard to argue with a high-performance coach. Just quickly before we do move on, Dylan Alcott getting a win this morning over, who's his opponent here? Sam Schroeder from the Netherlands. So Dylan Alcott moving through very nicely at the US Open on another Aussie front. But just quickly before we do move on to the men's semifinals, you wanted to talk about something this morning and how to coach a player like Serena Williams. Now, how do you coach a player like Serena Williams? She's won 23 slams. What do you do?
It's a very interesting one because you watch the coaches in the coaches box and everything gets panned towards the coaches. And obviously Patrick Mouratoglou being, such a high profile coach gets a lot of that airtime. But a lot of the time they coach themselves, right? These players, the coach themselves is there to manage them, to keep them on track, to maybe help with a bit of scouting, to help with booking practice courts, practice partners, to organizing everything around the athlete to make the athlete feel very comfortable. Now, anything can go wrong, and athletes are finely tuned and also highly strung. So if you're in a moment of, like, if the player is really tight and tense and you haven't organized a practice partner or the wrong practice partner, or, the car is late or whatever it is to pick them up to get to anything goes wrong, that player can be off their game by 5 or 10%, and that could be the end of the match. So as a coach, it's more management. It's more keeping them on the rails and arranging things around them to keep their world very calm and relaxed, and obviously getting them prepared in a headspace to be able to compete. A lot of the time, coaching at that level is more just management rather than coaching. I find that it's programming the athlete, it's periodizing the athlete, it's making sure that they're primed for the opportunities, as opposed to the nitty-gritty technical stuff that you'll see at the junior levels and development levels. So it's a very big difference coaching high-performance athletes and coaching junior athletes. You actually look very different. And the higher the athlete, the better the athlete, the less you say. The lower the athlete, the more you say. It's actually quite a stark contrast in the way that you coach those two different kinds of athlete in different development phases.
That's so interesting. I love that sort of insight. Mark Sapolis, that is why you are #better than Morris.
Oh God! If he sees this, he's gonna have a crack at me.
He's gonna hate me before he even meets me. I'm actually quite a nice guy, Patrick. If you are one, if I do say so myself.
Self-proclaimed.
Jesus, upping myself up much. But tomorrow morning, the men's semi-finals. Let's get to those because Pablo Carreño Busta against Alexander Zverev. This is also part of the Mankini bet. So if Carreño Busta wins, which I actually think he will. I'm wearing that green monstrosity on Monday morning. And look, this match poses a lot of questions of Alexander Zverev. I think Pablo Carreño Busta, we know what he's going to deliver. He does this time and time again. It's very rare that he gets he's pretty unwavered by emotions, stays on track, gets a little bit nervous at times, but he's been top 10 before, knows what he's doing. Alexander Zverev, temperamental as hell. So what are we going to see here? What does Zverev need to do, Mark, to get this match done and dusted quickly and finally get to that first Grand Slam final, which a lot of people are saying that it probably should have come by now?
Yeah, well, it's interesting actually listening to a lot of people on the TV because they're saying that it's almost a walk in the park for Zverev, which I'm seeing it as a total opposite as you're seeing it. And I think this is going to be a challenge for Zverev because he's not only got a decent opponent up the other end, he's actually got the opponent in his own head. And that, to me, is the bigger opponent out of the two. I think Zverev, if he can get out of his own way, he'll be a very, very hard player to beat in this match. But if he can't, I tell you what, he can be quite an easy beat at times if he lets himself or lets his mind take over his body, because his mindset can get off track pretty quickly. And we obviously heard about the serving issues that he has had over this tournament a little bit early on, especially. And Shane Leonard spoke about that yesterday, but it has gotten better as the tournament's gone on. And whether or not he can continue on that path of developing that serve and getting more confidence in it, I tell you what, he better, because Carreño Busta is going to bring, a very consistent style of play. He's going to be there the whole match. He's going to make you earn it. And his time on court hasn't been too much because obviously he had a very early match with Novak Djokovic. And, so it's going to be a very interesting match. I hope for Zverev's sake that he does get through, but I hope for our sake that Carreño Busta gets through and we can have hashtag Val wearing the mankini. Very nice into the last show. So that'll be good.
I like it very much. No, let's look. I want Pablo Carreño Busta to get through because I was kind of happy that he backed up beating Novak because a lot of the Novak fans, the sycophantic group that they are, they would have generally said, he's so lucky he got through. He wouldn't have gone on and wouldn't have beaten anybody. He beat Shapovalov in 5. He was better than him mentally, and his game was awesome. If he gets past Zverev, it's good because he's actually backed it up and he's done well. We know the capabilities he's got. Nick Kyrgios doesn't seem to know because he's come up this morning and tweeted, obviously would love to be playing the US Open, but due to conditions didn't feel comfortable. Yes, Carreño Busta, I'm a little bored and would rather be chopping you again to love. And he showed his scores. One in 2015 in Estoril in the semifinals. Kyrgios would lose to Gasquet in the final there. And in the first round of the 2016 Oz Open, 6-2, 7-5, 6-2, Kyrgios would only make the third round. Carreño Busta since then has made the top 10 and a US Open semifinal. So he's gone better than Kyrgios at Grand Slams twice now. 2 semifinals. Kyrgios has only ever gotten to the quarters. Probably wouldn't be talking, Nick.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. Look, Nick will be Nick and he'll definitely voice his opinion the way he does. But, Carreño Busta, you can't argue with results, right? And at the end of the day, Kyrgios, you've got a point. You've beaten him. Well done. Great job. But Carreño Busta has got some pretty significant results. So you can't really argue with that. And it's a fantastic effort from him. Regardless of what's happened through the tournament, you still have to beat the players that you've beaten as well. So, he did have to force Novak into a very angry state of mind, which he did. He was on track. And, at the end of the day, even if Novak had played, maybe he probably might have even gone close to that match. Who knows? And if we're going to go by any of Novak's fans, the way they've been tweeting and sending messages to this poor Lions judge on Instagram, I think they're in a different kettle of fish from a mindset perspective and need to shut the hell up.
Yep, agree. Hashtag justice for Laura Clark because it's just sick what they've been writing vile. Who wins in the first semi-final and how many sets?
Look, I'm going to go Zverev in 4. I think he may overcome his own demons and get through this one. So I think I'm going to go with Zverev. I'm hoping Carreño Busta, just for the show's sake.
Yeah. Oh, look, I hope Carreño Busta does, and I hope Zverev does for my sake, but I want Carreño Busta to win for the narrative perspective, and I think he will in 5. I think he's going to win that set. I'm going 6-4 in the 5th. And then men's singles, semi-final, not before 5:30 New York time. Medvedev team, we spoke a lot about this one yesterday, so we don't need to go into too much depth now. Mark, who wins? How many sets?
Medvedev in 10 sets. It's gonna go the distance. I think I had him at the start of the tournament. I think he's primed after last year, and I think he's playing good enough tennis, but Dominic Thiem's playing incredible. 10 sets, Medvedev in the 10th, 7-6 in the 10th.
Yeah, beautiful. Sounds good. I'm going Medvedev in 5, so probably half the time. But yeah, I reckon it's going to go to a 5th set tiebreak, and I think Medvedev will get the job done. I had him at the start of the tournament to win it. He's still in. I've got to stick with him, even though I think Thiem is going to push him in a mighty contest. So fingers crossed we have a big day of tennis that can replicate what happened today, because today has been unbelievable. And Serena Williams out, still chasing number 24. Victoria Azarenka and Naomi Osaka to face off in the US Open final. Marc Safoulis, thank you very much. Best high performance coach in the business. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, man.
He's laughing as the show starts and he's laughing as the show. I wasn't even being funny then. But remember, you can follow us on Twitter at The Tennis Menu. Same with Instagram. Joel Ferrucci doing a brilliant job on Twitter, and George doing a wonderful job on Instagram as well. Facebook, we're there. The Tennis Menu, LinkedIn too, and thetennismenu.com for everything you need to know about the world of tennis. Some wonderful packages on there, started by our very own Marc Safoulis. So plenty to get through tomorrow. We've got some big semi-finals. Val Febo with you, Marc Safoulis on the other line. We'll catch you then.